12 universities here in the public system in Florida. We have a variety of schools. We have something for everyone here in the state. Remain here in Florida School. What are the advantages to attending a state university? Well, first of all, our schools are nationally ranked according to U.S. News and World Report. They always come out with rankings every year. In fact, the rankings I'm showing you is based on last year that came out for 2021. On September 12th, they'll be updated, so you can probably Google that information in a week or so and find out what the current ranks are. But we have 5 universities that are the top 100 in the nation, public schools. University of Florida is ranked number 5, FSU number 19, USF 46, UCF 67, and FIU 78. And the other universities in the state also have their own rankings in certain categories, like most innovative or best value. You'll be able to find that in U.S. News and World Report and in other publications as well. Our schools, our public university system in Florida is nationally ranked. We're ranked number 1 in the nation. Why? It has a lot to do with the graduation rates, students finishing 2 years and moving on or going right into 4-year university and graduating on time, low debt at graduation, the tuition fees. You're going to notice that Florida, compared to maybe some other schools, even their tuition is a little bit cheaper than you would find out of state, especially when you're in-state, you're going to pay for in-state tuition as well. Okay, so distance and location. There are choices here for your students. If your student wants to stay close to home, we have FAU, which is about half hour away. They can go to Fort Myers. UCF is 3 hours away. Or if your student wants to maybe go and as far as they can without leaving the state, you have FSU, you have University of West Florida, albeit they may change their time zone, but they're still in state, and you have the advantage of paying that in-state tuition as well. In-state universities, you have more academic options compared to maybe smaller private schools. The institutions tend to be larger, more faculty, a wide variety of subjects and majors. Activities, obviously there's going to be more activities, and it's not necessarily a student who may want to compete in a Division 1 or 2 sport. They have intramurals, more clubs, fraternity and sorority systems, community service programs. There's a lot to offer, obviously, when they attend a public school. And a very important reason, lower debt and cost. And I'm going to show you a comparison here. So at the University of Florida, a student who's a resident in Florida, for 1 year of college, they're going to pay $21,431. This is from their website. The tuition alone is over $4,000. If you compare it to someone who's coming here to Florida, let's say from another state, their tuition is going to be over $25,000. And then if you add everything up, it's going to be $42,000 for 1 year, compared to a student who's staying here, who's a Florida resident, pays $21,000. So it's significantly cheaper. Obviously, scholarships, financial aid may be able to offset that as well. And then I have other numbers here. So a student, let's say they decide to go to Ohio State for 1 year, it's $50,000. A private school, this is the University of Miami. I remember a few years ago I was saying it's $60,000 a year. Now it's $78,000 a year, and that's again room and board and tuition and all that rolled into one. Again, we're not trying to discourage you from these places. A lot of universities outside of the state provide scholarship incentives for students who are not residents there. They want to attract kids from other states. So if a student has great grades and test scores, there may be scholarship programs for them, as well as the private schools. And again, this is just another comparison. Okay, just another breakdown of Ohio State. And if you look at the tuition, I don't know if you saw the tuition with University of Florida. The tuition here for an in-state student is $10,000. If you saw the tuition, it was close to $5,000 here in Florida. So the tuition costs are a little bit cheaper. And then this is just a breakdown for University of Miami. So another great advantage for staying in state, the Bright Future Scholarship Program. Not every state has a scholarship incentive program like we do. Students who choose to decide to stay here, if they earn a scholarship, they can use this at really any university in the state of Florida. It could be a private as well. The difference is the private is only going to give what a public university would give. Remember the tuition cost at a private school. Okay, so it's going to be more or less like a discount for them. There are 2 main scholarships I'm going to discuss under Bright Futures, the Florida Academic and the Florida Medallion, which can be used, again, at a 4-year, or if your child decides to start at a state college like Palm Beach State, do their 2-year AA degree, and then transfer, they can use it for that as well. So how much can you actually save? So let's say for instance, and these are numbers I had from last year, but this is to give a comparison. Let's say everything, tuition, books, supplies, and other fees for 1 year is over $7,000. The Florida Academic, which is the top one, will pay more or less about around that amount per year, and then the Medallion, which is the second tier, would pay over $4,000. So you can do the math. Okay, that helps. Again, it doesn't cover room and board, but again, you can apply for other scholarships and financial aid, prepaid. I know a lot of parents ask us if we have prepaid, can we also do Bright Futures? Yes, the colleges will accept both. Usually in some cases, when the student starts school, they look at the prepaid first and make all the deductions there, and then they add on the Bright Futures. And sometimes there's money left over. Many times there's money left over that can go towards, it goes directly into the student's account. It can go towards their housing and so forth. And again, you can stack scholarships with all this. So the Florida Academic Scholars, and that's the top one. To earn this scholarship, you have from the end, a student has till the end of their senior year to earn this scholarship. 3.5 weighted GPA in their college prep courses. So it's not the GPA and HPA that they had for Park Vista. This is recalculated just based on 4 English classes, 4 math, Algebra 1 and above, 3 science, 3 social studies, their foreign language. They have to choose a foreign language to attend a 4-year university, and also the Year for Bright Futures, and then additional academic classes. It's usually like 16 credits. And they weight it. So weighting means that if they've taken any honors, AP, ACE, or dual enrollment, when they do the recalculation, they're going to add extra value to those grades. So an A traditionally is 4 points. If they just do a street GPA, when they do the weighted, an honor, if let's say it's an honors class, maybe it's biology honors, they got an A in, it's not going to calculate as 4 points, it's going to calculate as 4.5. So anything that's an honors course, they're going to throw in an extra 0.5. Anything that's an AP, ACE, or dual enrollment, they're going to add in an extra full quality point. So the 4 points become 5 points if it's like an AP, ACE, or dual enrollment. So that's weighted. Colleges, by the way, do the same thing. Okay, and I'll go over that in a few minutes. They have to have 100 hours of community service, 1330 on the SAT, or 29 on the ACT. Either or, and they super score. Super score means that if you take, let's say, the SAT more than a couple of times, remember there's 2 main sections, the verbal, which is the reading, English, and then the math. Both sections are worth 800 points each. If you take it more than once, they're going to take your best reading verbal from those 2 or 3 times and take your best math and combine them. They'll do the same for the ACT as well. So the ACT has math, reading, English, they have a science section, and the highest in each section is a 36. And they average those, so the highest you can have as 36, so it's a 29 over 36. Now, some of your students may be earning the ACE diploma. If your student earns the ACE diploma, then they will earn the Florida Academic Scholars Award, provided that they have the diploma and they have 100 hours of community service. In other words, there is no GPA or test score requirement if a student has the ACE diploma, only the community service. Also keep in mind that to get the scholarship, the students have to apply, okay? And I'll go over that in a few minutes. There's a Florida Medallion. This one is the one that pays 75% of tuition. Remember, the first one I showed was 100%. This one's 75%. 75 hours of community service, 3.0 weighted GPA in these courses, again, that I mentioned before. SAT 25 on the SAT or 25 on the ACT. 75, like I said, 75 hours of community service, and they super score this as well. So the earliest a student can apply for Bright Futures, October of their senior year. We give our seniors information on this. In fact, hopefully all of you picked up this. This is a lot of these flyers we gave to seniors. Okay, so when your child is a senior, we give them a senior packet. We gave them this information, reminding them that they have to apply in October. Okay, so we can follow along with this. I'll point out, what flyers are here that I'm going over. This one has the requirements. It gives them the link on the application. We really tell them to do it in October, even if let's say they're shooting for this scholarship and they're not going to qualify until the end of the year, because they have till June of their senior year to qualify. So let's say they don't have the test scores, they can still keep on testing until June. Okay, so they have that time. If they're not yet there, we still encourage them to apply. Just because you're applying, you don't have the requirements, that doesn't mean no, you can't have it, because they're going to check till June. The important thing is that they put their application in, the Department of Education in Florida will check records. They usually check in September, again in January, and then again in June. So they can submit the application and hope for the best that they'll get the scholarship when, by June. Okay, so this is just information. Okay, so now I'm going to go over the college application process itself, applying to a state university. Students to be eligible, the Board of Regents in Florida determines that for a student to be eligible to attend a four-year public university in Florida, they do have to have a minimum, hopefully meeting a 2.5 or higher, okay, so they definitely have to meet 18 academic credits, but they should have earned 18 academic units throughout high school. Most of our students graduate with anywhere between 23 and 30, okay? So it's usually higher than that. So when a college, when they submit their academic record, which is their transcript, or if they self-report their grade, they're not gonna necessarily look at the GPA and weighted GPA that we have here at Park Vista. They're gonna recalculate only using academic units. Just like I explained with Bright Futures, they're gonna weight 0.5 for honors, full quality point for anything that's AP, ACE, or dual enrollment. So it's 18 academic units is the minimum, and specifically 4 credits in English, 3 in science, 3 in social studies, 2 years of a foreign language is a must, 4 years of math, algebra 1 and above, and then 2 credits additional to that. Again, most students who are college bound are gonna have more than 18 credits, okay, but that's important to know that that's a minimum requirement. When to apply, I'm gonna go over admission terminology and actual application. Apply early. We tell our students every year, our seniors, you need to be applying. The earliest you can start applying is really later in the summer of your senior year. Students can already start working on some applications. Some colleges will open their application as late as late July, early August. So applying early is important. Do it by fall, okay? Some kids have the mindset of, you know, I wanna do well my first semester senior year, so I'm gonna wait till January, because it's a rolling admission. I'll go over terminology, which theoretically means they can apply from now until May, so I can still apply in January. The problem with that, especially if it's a situation where it's rolling, where a student could be applying throughout the year and then they'll find out the decision within a month or a few weeks or so, depending when they're ready to give out that decision. The problem with rolling is that as more students get accepted, there's gonna be less spots, and those spots become more competitive. So that's what we always tell our students, apply early. If you're gonna wait till January, most likely you may not, receive that admission decision right away, and they may just also not accept you because they've already accepted some of the students. So going over certain admission terminologies that they're gonna see, okay, or that you may hear. So rolling admission, I kind of went over that already. That's when a student, the colleges will say, you have till May 1st to apply, okay, which obviously you don't wanna wait that long. And as they're applying throughout the year, the colleges are doing the applications, and then they do a turnaround of usually a few weeks or a month or so with that decision. Priority deadlines are very important. A priority deadline is usually in Florida, a lot of schools will have a priority deadline of November 1st. If a student, we encourage students to apply for that priority deadline, because sometimes after that priority deadline, it becomes space available. Also, the student meets, goes above what's typically accepted into that school, they're above that mid-range GPA, test scores, and so forth. If they're a strong student, if they do priority, most likely they'll get accepted, and there's scholarships also tied to that. Okay, there's scholarship that they can earn, that the schools will grant them just by applying early and being a top-notch student. So we always advocate that they apply for priority. Early action is similar to priority. It's a set deadline. We have like 1 or 2 schools in Florida that have an early action. Like for instance, Florida Gulf Coast has an early action date, and it's very similar to priority. It's a set deadline, and then their decision, let's say the priority deadline is November 1st, then they'll find out, or early action is November 1st, then they'll find out a decision maybe in January or December, okay? So it's usually a set deadline, and it has almost the same advantages as a priority, or if they're a top-notch student, they may have a scholarship. And then regular decision, it's, again, a set deadline, where they find out their decision, it's usually in the spring. Okay, sometimes the decisions all come out at a certain time as well. But if early, we always advocate to try to do the priority or the early action. Which schools to apply to? So again, if you're a senior parent, hopefully your child's already starting this process and they know the schools where they're applying to. We tell our students, try to categorize them. Categorize them into a safety, realistic, or reach column. Safety schools are schools that students are above what's typically accepted to that school, so maybe they're above the mid-range GPA or above the SAT and ACT mid-range. It's their ace in the hole, so to speak. Always have a safety school, a backup. It's a school obviously they don't mind going to or attending, okay? But it should be that backup school in case their number 1 choice is not available. Realistic schools are schools that those students, very similar to safety, but they may not necessarily be above that mid-range, but they're right there. We tell our students to apply to a school that's kind of within your range as well. And then there are the reach schools. Those are the, what it says, reach, okay, the chance where, not necessarily, you're not going to be in that range, probably not even above, but sometimes below the range of what they're accepting, but it's a dream school. And unless you apply, you're not gonna know. We also try to tell the students, when you're looking at your reach schools, be realistic, okay? Because with every school you're applying to, there's an application fee you have to pay, which I'll go over. And if you start applying to a bunch of reach schools, that's a lot of money you're spending, and if you don't have any safety schools, you may find yourself not going to college or having to look for other options. So it's nice to have a reach school, but keep in mind, it shouldn't be out of the realm of possibility. So if you're having a 2.3 GPA, but you're applying, and if you're considering Harvard as a reach school, you may want to reconsider that because, that's Harvard, and their application fee is probably like over $70. So it's just something to think about. Okay, actual application is either going to be an online on their school website or Common App. The Common Application, those are the two main ones you're going to see. Most of our universities in Florida now are on the Common Application, which I'm going to go over in a few minutes. And how do you know? Well, the student has to go on the school's website. We always say, let's say you go on FSU's website. You go on FSU's website, usually there's an icon that says apply here or undergraduate admissions, you click either or, and then it'll give you instructions on how to apply. FSU has the Common App available and their own institutional application. They should not be applying to both applications or using both platforms. They need to choose one. They definitely cannot do that. They need to choose one application. We usually advocate the Common App because most universities in Florida have Common App, and they may be applying to schools outside of the state of Florida that use Common App. So it's easier for them, okay? You have everything on one site. They're free to do this one, but remember to choose one. Let's talk about the Common App. There's over 900 colleges and universities in the country that use Common Application. It's a one-stop shop. So they can select the schools they want to apply to. The actual application is there, the essay prompts, everything is there. There's also information if they need to know, we have students that email us and, well, I don't know where to add my schools or how to submit a request for my counselor to do a recommendation. I'm not sure what to do here. Well, if you go on Common App, they have tutorials, they have guides and tips, and actually on the side when they're actually doing the application, they can click on things like what is this, how do I do this, and it does guide them. It's very self-explanatory. The actual application itself, with Common App, they may be asking, for instance, there may be essay prompts, there may be short answer questions. Whatever that application is requesting, they need to do. They shouldn't do any more or any less than that. So when they have an application, whether it's institutional or Common App, they need to follow the directions. It's very important. The essay is important, and I'm going to go over these a little bit in more detail. Test scores, sending their records, whether it's a transcript or self-reporting like SSAR or SPARK. Letters of recommendation, this is a question we get often also. A lot of parents and students assume that every college wants a letter of recommendation. That is not true. In the state of Florida, all the universities, with the exception of FAMU, New College, Polytech I think will take them, other than those schools, they don't want to see a letter of recommendation. They only want to see the application, what entails the application. Now there may be private schools that require a letter of recommendation and some out-of-state schools, but in the state of Florida, unless it's those schools that I mentioned, there's no letter of recommendation. Now, if your child does need a letter of recommendation, we always tell them to make sure they let a counselor, usually we have to do one, and then a teacher, to give us at least 2 weeks notice, and also to give us a resume, which I will be going over. And then to complete this application, the application fee needs to be submitted as well. So the college essay, how important is that college essay? It's important. I always tell my students, it's not a completion grade. A lot of students think, oh, I'm just gonna do this essay because they're asking, but they're not gonna read it. No, they are gonna read it. There's a committee, and even big universities will read the essays. They have a committee just dedicated to reading essays, and they can tell whether it's the student's voice or not. They're trained in this. It has to be the student's voice. And will it make a difference? It may, because let's say there's 2 applicants that have everything the same GPA, same test scores, similar activities. It may be that almighty essay that can make all the difference. So this really has to showcase your child. They have to make it their voice make it something that stands out, and it's also showcasing their writing. When an admissions committee looks at an essay, it's not just so much, it's the content, yes, but also can they write like someone who's about to start college or who's going to college. They're looking at everything. We have tips, in fact, in your packet, and we give this to our students too. We have top 10 tips top 10 tips for writing a college essay. And basically, a lot of it is, for instance, starting early. They should not be doing this all in one shot. Many times students take their time to do their essay. They may go back and forth with it a couple of weeks just to make sure it's a great representation of themselves. They can have their English teacher proof it, or maybe there's a grammarian in your family that doesn't mind reviewing it and has expertise in reviewing essays.
Did you say it had to be handwritten?
No, everything is typed. Everything is online now, so everything is typed. And when they do their essay, like for instance, like Common App, there's a word limit. And it won't let them go past. Like, they can do their essay, then cut and paste it on Word and put it in there. And then there's a word limit if they go over, or it'll tell them how much they have. But have someone, they should have a second set of eyes to read it, not just so much for content, but also for the mechanics and grammar and so forth. And they really should know something about the college, depending on the prompt. If the prompt is asking them just basically, why do you want to come here, they should show a genuine interest of why they want to go there. Maybe point out specific programs that they want to be involved in. But hopefully it's something that will make them stand out. Okay, another component of the application is reporting SAT and ACT test scores. They have to go through the College Board and ACT to request those test scores to be sent to the school for it to be official. Again, in your packet, we have the website and also the dates that they need to retake, okay? SAT and ACT, a lot of parents ask this, so when's the deadline for colleges? It depends on the college. It really does. So if a college has a November 1st deadline, they may only take test scores through November, maybe December. You can always check the website for that. It should tell you whether or not, how long or how late they'll accept test scores. There are some colleges that will, when a student applies to that university, they are required to just self-report the scores, meaning they don't go on the website initially to request those official test scores to be sent. They can self-report them. However, if they get accepted into that school, then, and they're committed to going, they will have to send the official test scores. And again, to send the official test scores, they go on the websites, and usually I think it's like $15 for each report, more or less, to be sent to the school, okay, to be sent to that college and university. Also, when they register to take the test, they can request, I think, 4 or 5 results to go to 4 or 5 different schools, okay, so that can be for free when they register. And they have up to like maybe a couple of days after the test to request that for free. After that, they have to pay for it. And a lot of kids are with the state schools, really, they super score, okay? They're gonna super score the SAT and ACT, so a lot of kids are like, well, I don't want to send it, it's not bad, but if you're gonna take it more than once, they're gonna take your best verbal, your best math, they're gonna, with ACT now, they'll super score as well. So they should be fearful of doing that, is what I'm saying, okay?
So this is a separate website they have to go on, not the Common App.
Correct. Correct. It's gonna go to the school.
Okay.
The Common App, the schools will have access to that, because when they do their Common App, they select the schools where they want the application to go. But yes, with the test scores, if they want the official test scores, they have to go on SAT and ACT, they have to go on their account and request those test scores to be sent to them. The ones there's a couple of schools that do the self-reporting, but like I said before, if they commit to go to that school, if they're accepted, they commit, they will have to, go back on the websites and send those test scores to confirm. Eventually, they'll have to do that.
Well,
They'll super score.
So you actually call the SAT?
No, you don't call them, you request.
College Board.
What the colleges, they will do the audit, they'll get the best scores. They have like a program where they can see what the best scores are combined. They actually, no, you don't tell them to super score, they'll do that naturally.
So
Is that what you're asking?
So you have to send like multiple tests, I mean, if you've got a score from different
Well, like with
tests.
SAT, when you send, when you send SAT, scores and you've taken it more than once, they're gonna see all the scores. It's gonna be on the report.
Oh, you just in general.
It's
send
gonna be
it
in general,
out.
correct, it's
Oh,
gonna be
okay.
already on the report. The
Okay.
ACT, I think
So
it's.
you don't have to pay multiple times to send multiple tests, it's just everything you've done.
Right, it's gonna be there, ACT is a little bit different though, ACT, it is like individual, it's not, the whole report, at least that's how it's been.
So
Are
what's
they
the name of the
still
company
running the
you go
SAT at
to?
1600?
Yeah.
College board?
For real?
It's right there, the websites are right here. The difference between I think you asked the difference between SAT and ACT? Is that what you were asking?
Okay.
What were you asking?
If they have one on 1600, it's a score, top score.
Total score is 1600?
1,600 for the SAT, 36 for the ACT. Okay, but they're different tests, okay, they're scaled differently.
I
The
took them all.
ACT has a science section to it, which is really like a reading based part of the exam, but obviously scientific. But they're different tests, and we tell the students, this is important, take both tests. For some reason, our kids, ACT is like the neglected child, okay, in the state. It really is, but the colleges accept either or. And your student may do better on one test than the other. I have two children that, one has gone through college, one is in college right now. One did better on the SAT, one did better on the ACT. It's just different children, okay? But you're not gonna know unless they take both exams. So we always encourage you to take both. Okay, yes, this is what I was referring to, that's in your yellow packet. Now, the other part of the application process, remember, we've gone over the application, we've gone over the, testing, the test scores, and now submitting your academic record, which could be through an official transcript. If a college requires an official transcript, they go through Parchment. We have Parchment information here, it's a quick guide on how your student can order a transcript through Parchment. Again, if you have a senior student, they have received it. Most colleges now in the state of Florida require self-reporting of grades, meaning they don't wanna see a transcript initially. They want the students to self-report through the SSAR, which is self-reported student academic record. They have to report accurately, so they're not sending the transcript. However, they are gonna see a transcript eventually, because if your student is accepted into that university, any student who's accepted into the university initially is conditional, because every college requires a final transcript. That final transcript at the end of the year is gonna show their grades from this past year. If it is a school that requires the SSAR, they're gonna check to see that they reported accurately. They're gonna check to see if they dropped an academic course that they say they were gonna take initially. They're gonna check for all that. And if they see something that, the grades are not good, or they didn't report accurately, or they dropped some courses, a college can rescind a decision. They can say, I'm sorry, you'll have to look for an option, but we cannot offer you this admission decision anymore. Okay, that does happen. I have copies of letters that say that. So it's really important if a college requires the self-reporting of grades. And how do you know what to do that? Because it should say it on the college's website. Sometimes once they apply, they receive a link that says they have to do the SSAR, or it will say it on the university's website. And I'm gonna show you a cheat sheet also that shows you which colleges require SSAR. Again, the majority do except for two, okay? UCF is special. They don't do SSAR, they do Spark. They have their own system, but it's the same type of program where they're self-reporting their grades, okay? So this is important to know, because for all the components I'm going over, if they don't have these, their application's not gonna be complete. So obviously the application is important, anything involved in that application is important. The test scores, the self-reporting of grades, they have to have all that, okay, for the application to be complete. Again, this is something that I already showed you, the Parchment instructions. And then the SSAR, okay, which I went over as well. And these are the universities that require, again, the bulk of them use SSAR. We highly recommend, and this is pretty much how it looks like when they form their account and go through the process. This is Spark, okay, and again, it's on their website. SIS, I also have here, I should have here, yes, helpful hints for SIS. The reason we've included this in the packet, we've given this to our students, because remember, they have to report accurately, okay? They have to report their grades accurately, and SIS will help with that. They can't be sitting there self-reporting their grades and be like, I think I've got an A in English honors my freshman year, sure, I'll put down A. No, accurately, use SIS. SIS is their best friend. SIS is a wonderful program, and they can see all their final grades on SIS. Okay, so make sure that you encourage them to really look at these things carefully. So another cool thing that we have here, this is a cheat sheet. This is the next page that we have here, and it tells you the school, like how to apply for the Common App, or if they have, you encourage the Common App. The schools that use transcripts, how to submit grades. These are all the links for SSAR for these schools that use it, and also deadlines. We have the regular deadlines, and the school has early or priority deadline. So this is a quick, we've given this to all the seniors. Every year we give it to them, so they have an idea of what is required and deadlines and schools that have SSAR. I like it. It takes all the confusion out of this process, okay? College resume, do your student need one? It depends, okay, some colleges may require it, but most of them, what they do, again, especially since we're doing Common App, most applications ask, what are your activities? Okay, what activities have you done, whether it's community service, there's always that section. The resume, they have a resume, and this is something we tell them since their freshman year, start your high school resume. You hate to wait till your senior and they have to think of everything you've done, but the high school resume, it helps when they do an application such as their college application or a scholarship application, because they have it all laid out there. And yes, some colleges may require it, maybe some outside of the state. If they don't require it, you do not send it. Remember, do not give them anything they're not asking for, okay? They don't like that, okay? But it will help them fill out the questions. And also, remember I talked earlier about letters of recommendation. Some schools may require it, or scholarship recommendation, they may require it. That resume is important for whoever's doing that recommendation, whether it's a teacher or the school counselor. We always ask for that, you know, because it gives us an idea of what kind of activities you've done and so forth, so we can elaborate when we write a letter. And again, with the recommendation, remember, remind your child that we use 2 weeks. Think about what kind of recommendation are we gonna give if the student asks us the day that it's due? Just think about it. Okay, the importance of a high school resume, we have an article of that in your packet as well. And hopefully the activities your child has done through high school have been meaningful activities that your student has demonstrated a lot of passion about. Maybe they've joined committees, maybe they have a leadership position, but something that's been consistent. Because remember, it's more quality rather than quantity, okay? How much did they put into it? Doesn't mean they have to join every club known to man. It means that hopefully they've been involved in something that they really cared about and it's made their high school career. So there are websites out there that can help with high school resumes. KPEX is a great website. And Like Me also has, these are websites, not only do they may have essay writing type tips as well, college information, scholarship information. And these are just some samples that we have here. And you have that in, the green packet has this presentation here as well.
I think you also have it in the college money.
Yes, I'm gonna go over that as well, yes, thank you. So, the application fee, this seals the deal. If they don't pay, they're not even gonna look at the application. Remember, it's $30 per, in the state university system of school, the public universities are $30. Their application fee is usually $30. Now, that doesn't mean if they do the Common App that it's a one-time deal. No, they have to pay $30. So they're doing like 5 universities in Florida, let's say like UCF, UFF, like all those schools that are, they check those off, they do the application. It's gonna be $30 for each school. And when you go outside of the state or private schools, that fee will increase. That could be as much as $75. It gets really expensive with some of these schools. There are some fee waivers. There are fee waivers for college application. If your child, if we have it on record, they're on free reduced lunch, and they've taken, for instance, like an SAT fee waiver. College Board has fee waivers if they can demonstrate that they've used a fee waiver to take their test. Because yes, students are eligible for testing fee waivers for SAT and ACT if we have it on record here that they're on free reduced lunch, okay? Now, another thing I want to show you is the matrix. And you may want to kind of look at it because here it's kind of small. We provide this to our students every year. This is the latest matrix from the state university system. Okay, all the admissions directors put this together. We just received this last week because we all go to a meeting every year at FAU where they're all there and they give us their latest information. This is very helpful for students. Not only does it tell you like, okay, what type of application to use, whether they use SSAR, product recommendation, whether they superscore. Now look at this, they all superscore now. With the it used to be there was 2 schools like UF and the past did superscore, now they do. So they all superscore SAT and ACT, okay? And then this is what always grabs the student's attention. This is part over here, the mid 50%. This data here, GPA, SAT, and ACT, what this data is showing is what students had on average from the previous year. So in this case, the class of 2022, they had on average to get into these schools. So if you look at FAU, I'm just going to use this as an example, the way you would read this is S&F, summer and fall. Students who are accepted into the summer on average had a recalculated weighted GPA based on those academic units that I mentioned. Remember, they throw an extra value for honors and AP between a 3.23 and a 3.81. I think that's what that says. Okay, fall, 3.73 and a 4.33. That's FAU. Okay? Test scores. They have the test scores. And again, these are super scores, test scores, mid-range for FAU. For the summer, for SAT, between 1,000 and 1,200. For the fall, it's between 1,110 and 1,270. And then for the ACT, for the summers between a 19 and a 24 for the composite score on average, and the fall between a 23 and 29. Now, does that mean that there were some kids who may have had a little bit less than that get accepted? Yeah, I'm sure there were, and there were some kids that were higher. This is the mid 50%. But we provide this to our students so they have, and we give this to them since their freshman year, and we show them this every year. Okay, this is an update. So they have an idea of what, on average, what kids have, and hopefully something to shoot for as well. Okay, so now we're gonna get to the point where I'm going to kind of talk about all the universities here in Florida. Yes?
And I see that you put here the summer semester scores. Does the summer semester have an earlier deadline than what you?
When you apply, no, when you apply for school, and that's a very good question that you're asking, when you apply to the universities, you choose which term you want to start. It could be fall, summer, or even the spring of the following year, okay? So yeah, you just select which term. Now, some colleges, what they'll do, let's say you apply for fall, but they think you're a better fit for summer, they may offer the student summer or maybe even spring. FSU though has started, this is important to know, where they are telling us, make sure your students know that they're applying to the term they want to start. We will not, they told us, we will not automatically offer them summer if they, if they want to be considered for summer. So if they want to be considered for summer, they need to say summer. So there are some schools that are like that, FSU is one. Other colleges will offer the term that they think they may be best for, if they offer them admission.
Is it easier to get into the summer?
Well, if you look at the test,
Oh, yeah, it looks
if
like
you
it
look
is.
at that, you notice it's a little bit,
Yeah,
with some schools it may be, yes. It's not as, as rigid as you see with some that if they're willing to start in the summer. And in the state of Florida, you do have to do 9 semester hours during the summer at some point as a requirement when you go to a public university in Florida. So that's roughly like 3 courses. So some kids, they just do it right after their freshman year, or they may split it up, do 2 courses in the summer, 1 year, and then do another one the following summer, okay? So it just depends.
For the deadlines, seems like a lot of colleges already passed.
no,
No,
no.
no. Which one are you looking
These are last 2 days.
Yeah, look at the date, what I would look at is that cheat sheet that I gave you in the previous one. No, our earliest one right now, FSU is October 15th, that's their early action date. Okay, and we're encouraging our students to do that one, that's the earliest one, so no, we haven't passed any deadlines yet. Yes? 1 minute? Oh, thank you, okay, yes.
What is a super score SAT?
Super Scores SAT is when you've taken the SAT more than one time, okay, there's 2 sections, there's like the verbal section and the math. Each one is worth 800 points. If you've taken it more than one time at college, let's say you didn't do as well as you wanted to one test administration, then you take it again. You took one in October, wasn't that great, maybe you did that in March. They'll combine your best reading of the 2 or 3 that you've taken, and then your best math and combine it, that's super score. So all the universities in Florida will do that with SAT and ACT, and Bright Futures will super score, which is nice, okay?
If you're self-reporting, can you just put your 2 best scores? And then,
Report accurately, yes, usually when you're self-reporting, I think,
you obviously.
it'll tell you on the application how to do it, but
Yeah.
usually, they will tell you, but they have, but remember, when if a college is requiring self-reporting, report accurately, yeah, yes.
The AP scores,
They don't look at that for admissions,
no,
no, okay, that's usually with our state universities in Florida, that's after the fact, when they've committed to a school, they wanna make sure that they have, if they pass an AP exam, that they have those test scores, so, it saves money. They don't have to take maybe certain courses, they get college credit already, but it's not a factor of admissions. Okay, so we're gonna go on, and I'm gonna give some little tidbits for each school. Pardon me as I read some notes, because my memory is not that great, and we just recently received this information. Let's start with the large public universities in Florida. We have 6 large ones here. We're gonna start with UCF, because they're actually the largest university in the state of Florida. They're in the top 5. They used to be number 1, now they're number 4, which, yeah, it was kind of shocking. I think Liberty University is like.
He's only starting there because that's what she graduated.
I'm sorry, yeah. It's really good what it is, but, and actually, this used to be a very small school. When I went, it was considered a small university. Now it's the largest in the state. And it's in an urban area in the city of Orlando, lots of internship opportunities there. You get the college feel, at the same token, opportunities to maybe in their aerospace industry to intern, medical industry, education. Their most popular majors are health professions, business management, psychology, engineering. Again, I'm not gonna go specifically over these mid-range because you have these, you have this in your packet. It's a very selective school, 44% of applicants were admitted, last year. And, some tidbits about UCF, their main campus is in eastern part of Orlando. They also have UCF downtown. They've partnered with Valencia College, which is their state college, equivalent to like our Palm Beach State, where it's like a living learning community with UCF students and Valencia students living in downtown, where they have classes, housing. Their medical area is in Lake Nona area, which is, I think, Southwest Orlando, Academic Health Sciences, and then the Rosen campus. Remember, they have a hospitality management program at UCF, which is housed in the Rosen College of Hospitality, that's ranked one of the best in the world. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind as well. They're constructing, or they're opening a new 90,000 square foot state-of-the-art nursing building. The UCF Lead Scholars Program, if your student was a student who was very involved in like government, community service, they've done well, they have a 2-year academic leadership development program for first year students at UCF, where they do emphasize academics, community service, and leadership. And UCF continues with their UCF Top 10 Nights program, which is a guaranteed admission program awarded to a high school student who ranks in the top 10% of their senior class and have earned an 1100 SAT or 22 ACT. Okay, University of Florida, that's probably the second largest in the state. Probably our most competitive university. They're ranked number 5 in public universities in the country. It'll be interesting to see where they're ranked next week. Students, their popular majors are engineering, business marketing, biological, biomedical sciences, communication, health profession. 37% acceptance rate. Okay, that's, that's competitive, that's very competitive. And, November 1st, they're interested in University of Florida, November 1st is the deadline. They'll say it's like a priority, but it's really their deadline. Okay, there's really no chance after that. I'm just gonna be very honest, so they need to apply by that date. Certain highlights, students who apply to UF can gain admissions also through different pathways, such as their Innovation Academy. The Innovation Academy is a special program where if they're accepted, they there's 28 majors in innovation that they have to apply for, and with an innovation minor embedded in that major. It's a program where they're going to school, spring, and summer programs. So it's a different type of program, but it's become very competitive. If they want to be considered for innovation, they have to check that off. Keep in mind, if they check that off, that's what they're going to be considered. There's no going back, okay? That's going to be the admission decision. There's also the PACE program, which is something that the school offers. They think the student's a good candidate for PACE. PACE is when students initially start University of Florida online. They have to do equivalent to 2 years or 60 credit hours online before they're able to have do courses on campus. So your student may be offered PACE if they feel, if the admissions committee feels it's a better suit for them. There's over 3,200 students in their honors program, and they're building a new honors village, which is gonna open in the fall of 2023, which is again, a living learning community. A lot of colleges are doing that, where they have they're taking classes where they're living, it's like a village, okay? So they're doing that with their honors program. And also something they wanted us to mention, the school, they have the ACT, SAT test deadline is December 1st. They can update their test scores if they get a higher score, but the school must have a score on file by December 1st. And students will be notified of admissions to UF on February 24th. Okay, Florida State University. Florida State, they have like an early action priority deadline now of October 15th. We encourage our students to apply for that one. The next deadline is December 1st. If they wait till March 1st, again, really not a whole lot of chances here. Okay, so we encourage them to apply early. Some of their unique programs, well, they're very popular in the social sciences, like psychology, criminal justice, also political science. Biological sciences are also it's a popular major, marketing, finance. Also with FSU, they've done a big renovation on their academic health center, a brand new student union with a 12-lane bowling alley, okay? New majors, human rights and social justice, materials chemistry, and financial planning, which is, they have a Panama City campus, which they have that major there. FSU is always also known for their CARE program. Their CARE is a summer career program, so if a student may not be in that range, and also they're first generation going to college, Pell Grant eligible, they may be eligible for this program. And on the application, they should have to check off that they're interested in CARE. And remember, there's an early action date of October 15th, and they should apply by then, hopefully. And University of South Florida. Okay, University of South Florida has 3 campuses. The main one's in Tampa. There's a smaller campus in St. Petersburg, and there's also one in Sarasota and Manatee. New majors this year include supply chain management and environmental engineering. Again, we have other popular majors such as business management management, marketing, health professions, biological. And again, these are popular because this is what kids are studying. It's not necessarily because these are their best majors, it's what kids are looking for. The health professions are very popular now. Biological sciences are, engineering, psychology. Again, their acceptance rate is 48%, so it's selective as well. And also, if there's a student who's interested in entrepreneurship, USF was ranked number 8 nationally among universities who've earned US patents that were granted, so that's something to think about. Okay, FAU, our local school, they have a priority deadline of November 1st. Again, remember that priority deadline is important for like scholarships and so forth. Final deadline is April 1st, but no, you do not want them waiting that long to apply. Apply in the fall. Certain programs with FSU, or certain highlights I wanted to mention that FAU wanted to make sure students, women's beach volleyball team earned a historic number 8 ranking. Their diplomacy team won first place at a national diplomacy competition, and they are ranked number 2 in best value in Florida. Their direct admit nursing program, where if they get accepted, they go right into the nursing program, is popular, as well as their pre-architecture programs. They're both very competitive though, so make sure they apply early. And FAU is working on an FAU Health Network. This is a collaboration with local healthcare systems, which we'll hear more information about in the future. They're just starting to work on that. Florida International University, FIU, in Miami, again, not too far as well. A very cosmopolitan area, so it's still considered large. They're celebrating their 50th anniversary this year. They're ranked number 2 in the nation for international business, and also for best college food. How about that? Okay. So, they offer the top 10 assets, which is kind of similar to the UCF program. They have students who graduate from a Florida high school, the top 10% of their class will receive an admissions pathway. The student must take those standardized tests, but will gain admission to one pathway regardless of their score. Again, their majors that are popular: business, marketing, psychology, interdisciplinary studies, communication. They're somewhat selective. Let's talk about some of the medium-sized schools. University of North Florida, the smaller campus up in the northern end of our state, in Jacksonville, a very nature-type area, a lot of trails, very close to the beach. One thing about University of North Florida, I know that they're celebrating also their 50th anniversary. They have new degree programs in advanced manufacturing as well as Africana studies. Campus Pride named UNF the best of the best for being highly inclusive of LGBTQ students. Approximately 77% of their students participate in internships. Okay, and they have a new computer lab, and their arena is also undergoing some renovations as well. University of West Florida, located in Pensacola, that's the farthest you can get. It's a smaller campus, has 1,600 acres, 20 miles of trails. 50% of the classes have fewer than 20 students. Their top majors are nursing, general business, and biomedical sciences. The UWF students complete a career readiness module to help with career identification and opportunities. There's a lot of opportunities for mentoring and fieldwork experience, and the Florida Board of Governors named it the #1 public university in Florida in percentage of bachelor graduates employed or furthering education a year after graduation. So many of their students are getting employed right after. FAMU, now remember I told you there's everything in our state, okay? And this is something that we have that not every state has, and we do have historically Black college and university here that's actually ranked #1 in the nation, okay? And #3 in social mobility. FAMU offers 50 degrees in academic programs, including pharmacy, nursing, journalism, health sciences, engineering, architecture, and business. They have a program that's joined with FSU, because remember, this is in Tallahassee, they're right across from each other. They have an engineering program they joined together, and there is also a competitive 3+3 law program. Their law school, I believe, is in Orlando, okay? And also they have a summer bridge program if students have their test scores. Again, health professions, business management, others, and they're selected too. Florida Gulf Coast. Florida Gulf Coast is celebrating their 25th anniversary. And they have over 64 undergraduate majors. New majors include BA in Digital Media Design, BS in Physics, and a BS, Bachelor's of Science in Entrepreneurship. Surface learning and environmental sustainability is also woven into their curriculum. And their students are required to have 80 hours of service learning to graduate. The Water School has recently opened as part of FGCU. It allows students to focus on climate change, natural resources, ecosystem health, and more. It has, again, one of the highest employment rates among Florida institutions as well, and it's #1 in undergraduate entrepreneurship program. Their housing is awesome. It's like resort style. I don't know if anyone's ever visited their campus, but they're known for that as well. Now the smaller schools, we have 2 small schools here in our state, and they're very unique. Florida Polytech University is our STEM school. Okay, that is the only Polytech school that we have here. It's all STEM related. Their popular majors are computer software, media application, mechanical engineering, computer engineering. It's in the middle of Lakeland, and you see this spaceship-looking building among all of the farms and fields. It's pretty neat. But they're building. They keep on growing, and they're building. They've earned, students who go to Florida Poly have earned internships in companies for Disney, Citibank, NASA, Siemens, Charles Schwab, and Amazon.com. There's also 16:1 faculty ratio. They work with their faculty members. Okay. New College of Florida. This is our honors college. Remember, there's something for everyone. This is an honors college, only honors. It's a very small campus. It's for that student who's very inquisitive, okay, very curious, that asks questions a lot. Their ratio of students as well, the classes are very, very small. 12 students, sometimes 7-to-1 student faculty ratio. There's 700 undergraduate students at this campus. It's a beautiful campus. They offer concentrations, that's what they call their major, over 70 to 45 majors. Students can create their own major here. And they don't give grades. They do more like an evaluation write-up, a portfolio style. There's no report cards, there's narrative evaluations. They actually do a senior thesis. But it's a very unique school for that unique student. Okay, some resources here I want to end the presentation with. If you want more information about our schools here in Florida, Florida Shines has everything. Again, everything's on their website. They also have career planning, scholarship information, or financial aid information, but you can actually find out more information about our schools. There's also webinars going on. You go on this website. You can register. You can just go on there. If you scroll down, it'll have those. They have webinars on exploring colleges, applying, funding, financial aid. Our school website has tons of information. I hope you guys have gone on there. Many of you have picked up a copy of our college admissions booklet, which you can find on our school website. All you have to do is go on pvchs.com, click school counseling, click college information, click admission booklet, and there you go. And yes, as the lady director has mentioned, there's a lot of resources here as well. Timelines, ways to organize your college choices, the definitions I went over, test dates, financial aid information, lots of information here. We have a college career fair going on, and that flyer is there as well in your little packet here. The county is sponsoring this, but there's going to be hundreds of colleges and universities throughout the nation, okay, represented there, and also military branches. There's going to be people, they're going to have FAFSA sessions. FAFSA is the pre-application for federal student aid. Again, that's another important thing to apply for in October, but there'll be a lot of information regarding this, and the colleges will all be represented there. Again, if your student's still trying to make some decisions, and if your students are underclassmen, this is a great thing to do as well, either one. College visits. Mr. Twain, one of our counselors, does a great job of organizing college visits here. They can sign up on the Google Class or Google Doc that's under college visits on our school website under school counseling. You have a copy here. These are all the universities we have that are coming to give talks. This is another great way to find out about schools. And also touring the school. Try to set up now with COVID kind of on the downside, I'm hoping, schools now are opening up their doors to do live tours. Sometimes they have open houses on Saturdays, and that you can find all on the website. We are also very lucky here that to have 2 admission sessions where not only they're giving talks, and I know one of our counselors, Ms. Robinson, is organizing this, but they're coming here to help with the admission process for FAU on September 14th and FGCU on September 28th, and they can sign up for that in their college visits. Also, Ms. Carlson, another counselor, she does these wonderful college planning workshops. This one is for seniors right now, and every Tuesday through September 27th, she has a topic. And all they have to do is sign up on the Google Class. Again, you should have that in your packet as well. Yes, you do. If your student can sign up. She just did one yesterday on the college essay, or 2 days ago on the college essay and resume. Next week is going to be on the college search. So this is another great resource to find out more about how to apply to college. And then I wanted to leave you with this. This is my domain, the financial aid part. We have an organization called TRIO that's going to come here on September 19th in the evening, in a couple of weeks, to discuss financial aid and scholarships, mostly like futures, but also discuss about the FAFSA. The FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid. A lot of parents sometimes are like, oh, we may not qualify, but we still always say apply, because you just never know. Many applications, scholarship applications that require a student to fill out FAFSA, either way. If you need help with FAFSA, we're gonna have a FAFSA computer lab night right here in the lab, right in here. You just have to make sure that you fill out the, that you fill out you do the FAFSA ID for FAFSA before you come and those documents. Again, it's in your packet, the flyer's here. And then Scholarship Thursdays. This is something we do with students every so often. Our next Scholarship Thursday is next week. We had one 2 weeks ago, over 50 kids attended. It's in our lab, and it's only for the students. It's in our lab in our school counseling office. Any scholarship information we have, we show it to them. The scholarship bulletin, which any scholarship information we receive, I post on a bulletin. It's on our school website, under school counseling, under scholarship information. The students get an updated bulletin there. They can always pick up the bulletin in our school counseling office, and again, it's on there. These are the school counselors. Learning as I go. Okay, these are all our school counselors here. We are by alpha. We made some changes this year, but we're by alpha, yeah, by last name. If your student ever has any questions, or if you have questions, you can just email. Okay, we're always accessible. Or call us, either way. Okay, I just have a last slide. Don't know what's going on here, but thank you so much for coming. Our next coffee talk is October. It's on the next slide. And
21st.
is it the 21st? It's the same. Thank you. October 21st, and that's going to be on careers. It's going to be virtual. Okay, that's going to be online. We're going to have other coffee talks throughout the year, so please always check your email.